morning, everybody. We are now, I think, going live on YouTube, and this is our 5th episode of Clutter Talk Live. And we have myself, Dr. Zen Moffat, and we have Clara.
Morning.
And we have Elaine.
Morning.
And Clara, we are all decluttering professionals, and Clara her company is Joy of Space, and Elaine is Clear Mountain. And you can see the names at the bottom of their picture. And at the bottom of my picture, you see a text phone number 077-265-30217, where you can text in any questions you'd like. And today, what we're going to look at is top tips. And we also have some guests from a group I founded about 6-7 years ago called Clutter Chat, which is a regular meetup group. So we have Fiona and Leslie who will be joining us about 10 minutes into the program and give us their top tips as well. But we'll just start the session. And if Clara, how's your week been? What's been going on?
It's been great. No sick puppies, no migraines. It's been fantastic. Thank you. I had the 1st of May, I had my first live 1 hour working with a client. So that was great. Enjoyed that.
And Elaine, how's your week been?
Good, thanks. Yeah, much better. Thank you. Enjoying the sunshine, enjoying being out and about in the air. And a kind of mixed week as well for me work-wise, a couple of virtual clients as well. So yes, good. It's been good. Yeah. What about yourself, Sam? How's your week been?
My week's been all right. Yeah, I've been learning a bit of Swahili, which has been good. We have some connections in Tanzania, and so one of our lockdown projects, as in me and my partner and my mum, have been learning Swahili. And the way I learn best is through singing. So we've been singing, been making up some Swahili songs, trying to keep positive. Trying to send out positive messages, generally pretty well in myself. I think I quite suit sort of lockdown. I quite enjoy just sort of pottering around the house and doing stuff. And I think this theme of the technology finally kind of getting to grips with Zoom and connecting with people, and it's really opening up quite a lot of nice new spaces. And it's been lovely because the responses that we've been getting from our Clutter Talk Live, and people are enjoying just having us in their living rooms. So from our home to yours, and that just gives me the sort of the warm fuzzies, really. It's really nice. And some people are still, they kind of tune in and they're decluttering or just sort of pottering around whilst we're sort of chatting our stuff in the background. And so that's really nice. And as I said, I remind people, but if people want to text through any questions, we're happy to respond. And also, I've now got, I think to my left, I'm set up. So if you've got any questions, put it in the top chat window or whatever it is on YouTube, still figuring things out. And we'll try and respond and pick them up. So just try and message us and we'll try and respond. Elaine, do you have any other sort of thoughts from your week, or any other sort of responses from like what people have been saying?
Yeah, one of the other responses, you're saying you're learning Swahili. I have decided to have a wee look at Tai Chi. So I'm doing a couple of 5-minute Tai Chi sessions in the morning, and I'm finding it really lovely and floaty and very nice. And I do meditation every morning with my mindfulness teacher anyway. We start at 8 and we're on a little Zoom group then. And so I do that 8 till 9, and then I'm getting up and I'm feeling refreshed. So I'm going for a little bit of 5 minutes of Tai Chi, and it's lovely. I've never truly tried Tai Chi before, but if anybody's interested, just pop on to YouTube, and there's lots of different teachers doing stuff there, and have a wee look. But yeah, lovely, feeling really nice about that. So yeah, a good one.
Yeah, I do Tai Chi as well, and I've been loving it. So I'm a member of the Taoist Tai Chi Society, and I can put it in the YouTube message window, something like that. And what's nice is also we've got a little WhatsApp group, and we have to do like our target or our aim is to do like 50 donyus, which is like the Tai Chi version of a squat a day. So do 50 squats a day. Some people are totally maxing out and doing like hundreds, and but it's nice. It's again, I think what we say about clutter as well is like it's that regularity and having accountability. And someone has been really motivational for me to check in. I cannot remember the form whatsoever without having the teacher there. But even just sort of a little bit of we call foundation exercises. So yeah, highly recommend Tai Chi because you can do it individually. It's good for all age groups, all like all abilities, and it's just very gentle, and it's really nice.
I think
Clara,
that's what we've found. Sorry, Clara. I think that's what we've found with us meeting every morning for our meditation sessions, that it's the camaraderie of that. I've just had a friend who's just outside my window, just leaving me some flowers. So that's lovely. Oh, that's nice. Thank you so much. So just having, as you say, checking in and doing that. Check in with other people, so it's really nice. It's a nice way of keeping in touch with people as well. Clara?
Yeah, I've been enjoying writing in a gratitude journal, so just 10 things that I'm grateful about every morning. But you don't have to write in a journal, you can just sit and think about it. And I've also included a 5-minute mindfulness connecting to your heart meditation. And at night I've started doing 5-minute stretching, because that's really good for slowing your breathing right down and slowing your body down, rather than going straight from the couch to your bed, as I'm sure a lot of us will be doing just now, maybe via the biscuit tin. I'm trying not to, although I seem to be developing a biscuit habit that I never had before. But just stretching it helps you slow down, and it helps with positive endorphins. It's a nice way to end your day, just slow stretching. I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, we just had a text through saying, I started Tai Chi yesterday, did it years ago, but this is specifically for wellness. If anyone has a health problem, it is very suitable as a lot is seated. Check out Tai Chi Movements for Wellness. So Tai Chi Movements for Wellness, please pass it on. Consider it done. Wow. Thank you very much for texting that in. And we also had a message in Swahili on the YouTube video saying Hakuna Matata. So I replied Hakuna Matata, and I asked him how he was in Swahili, and apparently I've exhausted his knowledge. So
I see that.
There we go.
Anyway. That's my that's one of my favorite clients. Good morning, David.
This is great. Oh, I'm really glad that I'm able to read these messages. So also we have a message from Jocelyn, who joined in a live online yoga session on Monday, which was great to do some stretches again. And it was aimed at families. It was great to see various kids jumping like frogs or attempting to be trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the tree thing, hug a tree. Our mindfulness teacher set as a task last week to hug a tree when we were out for our walk, and to get the energy from the earth. So, it's a bit airy fairy, but hey, there's nothing better than giving the tree a hug when you can't give your loved ones a hug at the moment. So be mindful of the tree, of course. Don't go on a tree that everybody's hugging, but if you find one out in the forest that's on its own, give it a hug. And do you know why the girls are laughing? They're laughing because I'm not a hugger, actually.
You're not a hugger.
And that is why they are laughing, actually.
Them and I are huggers. Elaine, not so much. Elaine faces herself when we come in for a hug.
I think Elaine is like loving the social distancing, and I think many people who aren't huggers are loving the fact that they're not socially expected to hug. So
Zem is a hugger extraordinaire. She puts everything into it and she hums and sometimes sings to you as well, and it's at least a 60-second hug. It's beautiful.
Oh.
All right, too much information, ladies, too much information. This So yeah, if you want to really know what a declutter is like in your watch this program.
Shall I give a wee insight to who we are again and what we do? So
please do, Elaine.
So I'm Elaine McKinlay of Clear Mountain Decluttering and Lifestyle Organising. And on the show today, we have Clara Moore from Joy of Space and hosted by Dr. Zem Moffat of Insightful Moves. And we are all professional organisers and members of ABTO, the Association of Professional Declutterers and Organisers. And there are hundreds of us throughout the UK. So if you are living, no matter where you are living, you can pop in your postcode on the ABTO website and you will find a declutterer near you. And the great thing about this is that we all specialise in different things. So my specialist subject is decluttering and lifestyle organising and working with people with ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, etc. Clara is a certified and trained KonMari expert, and she is taking the KonMari concept out to people in their homes and the community. And Dr. Zem Moffat is a resident anthropologist and looking at the social aspects of clutter and organising in the community and the connecting of people. And she runs Clutter Chat, which is a support organisation. And you're going to hear from some people who are in Clutter Chat later on in the show. We also run a course at the University of Strathclyde's Lifelong Learning Centre called Moving from Chaos to Calm, where we bring people, like-minded people together, and we talk through the process of decluttering, but also why we gather clutter. We are out in the community doing workshops and presentations. We present at the Ideal Home Show here in Glasgow every year on the Super Theatre stage. And we basically are committed to helping you declutter your homes, offices and lifestyles. So that's a wee bit about us. If you need to get in contact with any of us, you can see at the bottom of each of our screens, it has our company sort of email addresses, etc. And we can go over them. But we are on social media, all the social media platforms, if you want to get in contact with us. Zem.
Yeah, and we're getting better at it. Apologies for some people that are trying to watch. I'm like posting things on Facebook, but we are, I wanted to say, we are the decluttering dream team is what we call ourselves. So we've got Clara of Joy of Space and Elaine of Clear Mountain. And as Elaine said, we're teaching as well. Hopefully that'll go online at the Strathclyde Uni. And yeah, I think that's kind of all I wanted to say, really. So we could talk a little bit more about me. Should we talk about me?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? This is why I started this program. But actually, what I want to talk about now and introduce people to is Clutter Chat, which is a group that I began as a result of some workshops about six or 7 years ago. I forget exactly the date. And so I worked in people's homes and then put on workshops because my background's also in education and in teaching. So it's just something that I enjoy doing. And I was trying to go, well, how can I make my knowledge go furthest and go far as far as it can? So the name of my company, Insightful Moves, and the Insightful Move is the move that takes the least amount of energy to have the most positive effect. So kind of call it intelligent tea drinking a lot of the time. So it's like, what if we think quite cleverly about how we can get our good sort of, Elaine's just raising her cup there. Yeah, intelligent tea drinking. So there we go. And so then as a result of working in people's homes, I then thought there's a better way, there's another way of doing this, a workshop, because people take in knowledge in different ways. And then from the workshop, had people coming to know what we want a bit more regularity. So started something called Clutter Chat and called it Clutter Chat to take away the shame of it, because everybody's affected by clutter. And it's just stuff. We just need to learn a good materialism, how we handle stuff, how we deal with it. So I started Clutter Chat, and it's grown. So we've got a couple of members. We've got Fiona and Leslie, who I'm going to invite in. So I'll let Fiona in first, and then they're going to talk a little bit about their experiences. So if everybody wants to give a good welcome, and I'll let Fiona in. Fiona, are you ready? Just learning about the meeting room. So here we have Fiona.
Hey.
Welcome, Fiona.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Can you hear us fine?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Excellent. So just kind of, do you want to just kind of give us let us know how you found out about Clutter Chat and our work, and yeah, what's important about it for you?
Yeah, well, I had a lot of ongoing issues about clutter and was actually seeing a counsellor at the time, and she actually suggested that I join this support group. And I've been involved in that now for, I'm sure maybe at least 18 months, maybe longer, a couple of years. So I met Zem through that, and I actually did some one-to-one work with Zem. So I think for me, there's a lot of friendship in the group. You know, there's a lot of support comes in the Clutter Chat group. There's a lot of us who've got common interests, variety of situations. There might be people who've had to downsize, or there might be people who've had to inherited a lot of belongings from family members and having to deal with that. A variety, from people who've got beautiful downstairs rooms to really cluttered upstairs rooms. So I'm afraid I'm a bit of a hoarder, so it's been really good for me. And I think one of the things about the supportive nature, you know, people are very helpful, and they've often been through issues before. We've got lots of tips come up, lots of ideas. Zem herself does a lot of researching behind the scenes for where to dispose of items. I mean, even yesterday we were checking out when the brown bins in Glasgow would be finally uplifted. So there's quite simple tips. Big thing though about the people who go for me is that they're non-judgmental. There's no shame or guilt, because for me, you know, I felt terrible about the clutter, the hoarding. I couldn't really talk to anybody about it. It was a kind of, you know, my sister had helped me, but had stopped after a while. It just got too much for her. So I think that there being no shame or guilt, that you know, people are encouraging, that became, you know, quite a lift for me, really. And the accountability, excuse me, the regularity of meeting. You know, before, when we were meeting in person, it would be every fortnight, although we could go to groups. I went to the group in Elmbank in north of the city, but we could go the other week to the one in the south of the city. But now we've moved into weekly contacts. That's been great, actually, on Zoom. And I think that regularity, making commitments, you know, every week at the end of the meeting, and then at the beginning of the next meeting, we check in. How are we doing with the commitments? You know, how are things going? And we get comment and feedback from one another.
So Fiona, there's something about the regularity, the friendship, the accountability, and how did it feel when you first sort of walked into the room? Do you remember what that felt like?
Yeah, well, I think there was a kind of welcoming nature for everyone. You know, everybody was having a cup of tea, you know, everybody had brought cake or fruit to share, exactly. And we'd had a cup of tea in the middle, because for me it was a bit nervous, you know, although I'm used to talking and, you know, working in a professional environment and all of that, there's still that bit about, oh God, what will this be like, and how much do you share? And actually people were quite laid back, as I say, friendly, helpful, supportive, you know, and I was put at ease, really, you know, and Zem as well is a great facilitator, so that helped.
Thank you very much, Fiona. I'm wondering, shall we Clara or Elaine, do you have any questions for Fiona, or should we just let Leslie in, the next person, or is there anything you wanted to say?
I would maybe like to ask Fiona, how did she feel after her first week of going to the Clutter Chat group? Did you come away and feel better in the fact that you knew there was other people out there that had the same sort of problems as you? Or
Yes, because I think that was a big issue for me, is about the isolation, that I hadn't realised there was lots of other people kind of like me who were actually quite down to earth, ordinary folk, and that became really interesting. Male, all ages, people all ages are involved in the group, men and women. It doesn't matter what kind of backgrounds people come from, all over the city. We meet in Glasgow, so it's always like, although we have people who travel actually from quite a distance, from the other side of near Edinburgh. So we have people who come from quite a distance who are willing to make that commitment. So I think that's great. And I think for me, just going away that first night, oh my goodness, there are more people like me. Oh my goodness, that enthusiasm to just say, right, just let's get down to this, I've lived with it for years and years and years. I've really got to me. And I think I wasn't working at the time, and I'd recovered from ill health. So I was living with it all the time. Whereas in the past, I'd been working and could let go of it. And in the past, I did a lot of socializing and traveling as well. So it was out of sight, out of mind. But now I was at home. There was the reality. I had to face it.
I think that's really interesting, the things that you're sharing. And I know that when I've hosted Clutter Chat when Zem's been on holiday, what's interesting is that people sometimes really enjoy going back regularly and having an accountability buddy, but also people just get as much out of it. Sometimes they only come along once or twice, and it's just knowing that it's there and experiencing that sense of community and connection, and that sense of being part of something and not feeling alone.
Yeah, I think that's very much the case, because sometimes people will come in and work through a particular issue, and they're quite happy that they've done that, and they might come for, I don't know, 6 months or so and think, yeah, I've managed to sort that. Yeah, it's great to know you're there. And they might still be linked into our we have a WhatsApp group that I think Leslie will speak about. So people still are in touch with us. And that buddy thing you mentioned, that we, if there's a particular issue going on from somebody, sometimes we'll say, well, look, I'll give you a wee phone, or I'll give you a wee chat, or just phone me. And I've practically helped people, as well as just been on the phone to kind of jivvy somebody along and send them a wee text every now and again. So we do that periodically, yeah.
So we've just had a text through from somebody who asks, would weekly Zoom groups be something you might go forward with? I love the idea of joining Clutter Chat, but my energy means I'm not always able to physically go to a group, particularly in the evening. Thanks. That's really interesting, isn't it, Fiona? Because we've just had our first, we have been going weekly on Zoom since lockdown. That's It's been a steep learning curve. Fiona had her first practice facilitation session last night. And we should own up that Fiona is also on the board of Clutter Chat, because we're becoming a charity, hopefully, cross fingers. So we are literally at the very early stages of starting the Zoom groups. But if you want to send an email in, if you are interested, then we have an email account, clutterchat@gmail.com, which is clutterchat@gmail.com. And we're just starting to work out the format and how it works. But yeah, I reckon, Fiona, do you have any anything to say on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I take that point of, somebody, and it's not always easy for someone to come out at night, in the evening, particularly over the winter time, if you're busy or you've got a family or there's a lot of things on, and you've got your clutter as well, then that can be a tough call. So I do think we that moving forward, it would be good to have both opportunities. I mean, I do miss the face-to-face contact, but I've got used to Zoom meetings, so I'm not. I think it's a really great opportunity, particularly for people who find it difficult to travel, or who just maybe don't feel comfortable about that part that Clara talked about, walking in to a group like that, because it's that first step. Lots of people find that whether they're going to a Spanish class or a Keep Fit class, it's walking in that first time is difficult. So if they can do it on Zoom, great.
Yeah, and I think physically, so we've had members that have wanted to come to Clutter Chat, but haven't because of the physical, because of getting there on an evening in Scotland. It can be quite dark in the winter, and I personally am much more a morning person, so I really enjoy the mornings. But I think also online is opening up a lot more access and opportunities that I am loving as a facilitator. Like also the kind of the trickiness of being able to see inside someone's home before they've come to Clutter Chat and they've been able to say what kind of they want, but now they have the opportunity to show us what they want of their home. So it's a different game. But I think, and it works for some people, and it doesn't work for all members who just want to meet up in person.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think at this point I might admit Leslie in, because I think Leslie's got some really interesting points on this. So this is another member of our Southside group in Glasgow called Leslie, and she's been coming along for about a year, I think. So welcome, Leslie. I'm going to admit you and see how this works. Here we go. Welcome, Leslie.
Hello there.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
Oh,
So do you just want to tell us, Leslie, how did you find Clutter Chat? Actually, that's an interesting question, because you came, how did you find Clutter Chat, and how's your decluttering journey been to date?
Right, I found the Clutter Chat when I went along to a local lunchtime group at a local church, and they were giving out leaflets about a new Clutter Chat group that were going to meet on the south side of the city. And I had a chat to one of the ladies and thought, this sounds interesting. I think I'll give it a go. Having suffered from clutter for rather too many years. So when I went along to the group and found like-minded people there, very friendly group, and found it a great encouragement to try and get to grips with dealing with the clutter. So yes, it's a very friendly group, and they've come up with various tips that are really helpful. The one that I find extremely helpful is using my phone and putting on the timer for 15 minutes and then tackling an area of clutter until the buzzer goes. And then I feel I have actually got down to it, got into a problem and have started dealing with it. So I find that very helpful. There are other times when I can get on and try and do a bit more, but on the days where I'm really struggling, I find if I set the timer and try and do 15 minutes, it gets something done, at least 15 minutes worth of some sort of decluttering done. And I find that very useful.
Brilliant. That's really brilliant that you're motivated by the timer. So that's fantastic. Yeah.
Another thing that I've found with when I've been part of Clutter Chat that motivates people is the wisdom that comes from being part of a group and from other people having had similar experiences as you, and able to say, have you thought of this? Have you tried that? Or even just sitting and listening with an expression that says, I know, I feel what you're going through, I have that experience. And also the just sheer happiness that when people come to the group and say, how did you get on? You said you were going to tackle this, and saying, oh yeah, I did tackle it. And I put all those magazines out to recycling, or I tackled that corner of the kitchen. Just the happiness that the group members have for each other's achievement, I think is a wonderful aspect of Clutter Chat. I don't know if you've felt that.
Well, I think it's very encouraging that you've got other folk there who are cheering you on in the background, as it were. And we also have a WhatsApp group. So we can send one another messages, you know, when somebody's struggling with something, you can say, well, you know, I've got a similar problem. If you want to go and try your 15 minutes and I'll try my 15 minutes and I'll let you know how we get on. And you feel there's somebody there's got your back and is trying to help you move on. Also, it's great that we can celebrate the successes together, but also at times when things are really tough and you're really finding it difficult to try and do anything, there are other folk there who can say, I've been in that situation, or even, well, I'm in that situation just now, I'm finding it really difficult for whatever reason. And you do feel there's that sense of camaraderie, really, and support, which is great. And I think that's, in many ways, the friendship has really been extremely encouraging and really helps to try and keep you going forward.
Leslie, you came along to one of our sessions at the University of Strathclyde. In fact, I think both of you did. Fiona came as well. Did you find the same sort of situation when you came into the room with when we were presenting that course? Did you find how did you find that one?
That I went along to that fairly early on in my Clutter Chat journey, and it was good. I actually met another member of our group there. It was the first time I had met her, and she very kindly gave me a lift home, so we got a good chat on the way home to encourage one another. Yes, I thought it was very good actually coming along and meeting the three of you running the course. Ignore my phone. And lots of different approaches, which was quite good. And you could pick up hints from the different folk as to what you felt might work for you. It was also good. There was a wide variety of folk there with different stories, and it was interesting to hear the different stories and to find out what their particular clutter problems were, to discover that some of those problems were exactly the same sort of problems that you had yourself.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, the spectrum of people who really struggle with clutter. And like, I know that for Clara, Elaine and myself, you know, the people we meet, we never know what kind of universe we're entering when we go into a home. And it's often health, physical, mental, emotional. Also, people are just born with different brains, different ways of organizing things. How do you do it? So one of our skills or one of our challenges is to try and start to understand that empathy that we spoke about last time, try and get inside that person's universe and help them come up with systems. And I think what you were saying, Leslie, about the spectrum that you saw on the course, like people come in and some people don't think they don't assume it's either a mental health problem or an emotional problem or an organizational, and it isn't, you know, it can be a bit of everything. And I think, Fiona, you had a similar sort of experience walking into the University of Strathclyde course, which, just to give it a little plug, it's called Chaos to Calm, or From Chaos to Calm, I think. And we're hopefully going to be running it on Zoom later this year. But Fiona, what could you talk a little bit maybe more about the spectrum?
Yes, I mean, again, I found it was quite a spectrum and it was different. I mean, I'd been going to Clutter Chat for a while. And so again, I found the spectrum, it was a different range of people altogether, with even other issues again. You know, I remember there was some, you know, there was the range of people from, again, inherited. There was quite a few people with inherited stuff from relatives. There were people who downsized. There were people who were compulsive shoppers, who'd run out of space. You know, and some of the interesting things that I came away with was, I must admit, I'd always been I was never sure about the Marie Kondo thing. I kind of thought, no, I'm not sure I'm really into that. And I said, well, I'll give it a try. I'll see what Clara's got to say. And the folding stuff was just amazing, because we actually had an experience with folding, and she asked us to bring along something. And I remember one of the guys there, he brought along a fitted sheet. Oh my goodness, how do you fold a fitted sheet? And I saw him, she just went up and she told him how to fold it. And I thought, oh my God, that's amazing. because one of the things for me is I can be a wee bit of a perfectionist, you know, and that's another trait. Sometimes, you know, you want to get it and do it right. So I have taken on board that folding method, and my goodness, it definitely works. Gives you much more space, you know. And Elaine's ideas were good. There was a lot of organizing she brought along. Again, practical things about, oh, you could storage, little small items that she brought on, different filing systems and all of that stuff. To be honest, I'd been through most of those systems myself, had tried them all and had abandoned them at various stages. I was saying that to the group last night in terms of my paper filing is not always good. However, that was good. And it's good often to be reminded of things, you know, something you might have tried a year or two ago and it didn't really work. Oh, well, look, give that another go. You know, it maybe fit you now, what suited you, because your circumstances change. As I spoke about mine, I'd been ill, I had not been working, I'd been made redundant actually, then I was ill and, you know, trying to kind of address my house. So, well, maybe go back and have a try at that again. And Zem was good. She had interest in, I think the emotional stuff for me is really important. That whole, the mental health, as I say, I'd come through from my counsellor really because I'd had issues. So for me, that Zem looked at the issue of an item that was just a piece of clutter and an item that was really important to you and how you handled that. And I thought that was a really interesting reflection of, for me, that kind of emotional support. So between each three of them, that I think it was a great combination of issues to look at, you know, the physical aspects, the practical aspects, as well as some of the emotional aspects. So
because we are the decluttering dream team.
Of course. Yes, indeed. Yes.
We will get into your dreams and into your nightmares. it's like when people say to me, oh, I was thinking of you the other day, and my immediate question is were you trying to clean out a cupboard or like tiny kitchen drawer? So when we come into people's, and literally now we're in people's living rooms, but it's like whenever people say, yeah, I was thinking of you the other day, and I'm like going,
Yeah, I mean,
how do I feel about that?
I had that as well with before lockdown. I have a friend who was going in the shops and going to buy something, and you know, I've got that tip when you lean forward, and I have a 5-finger tip. Do I really need this? And she said, as she leant forward to pick up the thing, she says, as I looked at my hand, she says, I thought of you saying, do I really need this? She said, I quickly pulled my hand back and left the shop.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Can we all do that? I think we should all do that now on screen.
So it's, do I really need this?
Do I really need this?
Yeah.
And there is something, I think, when you kind of physically touch something, you make a connection like physically. And so, and I think I even heard something, no idea if this is true, but on iPads and smartphones and things, they've got something which kind of attracts you, so you can't, there's something physical, so it's kind of a compulsion. So I think if you can stop just literally touching something, then yeah, you have half a chance of not acquiring it.
Well, psychologically, they have done studies that if you touch something, say you go up to a jacket or a jumper in a shop, once you've actually touched it, you've created a connection between you and that item. And then if you were to put it back and say, oh, I don't think I need it, and then someone else came along behind you and went to reach for it, your reaction would be, that's mine, because you've touched it and you've created a physical connection with it. So the not touching something, the stop, do I really need it, really works, as Elaine's friend had found out.
Yeah.
I was wondering, before we kind of let Fiona and Leslie go, what would be what is your top tip from each of you? And also, if you have any particularly tricky questions, you could ask Clara or Elaine or me. So I'll let either of you go first.
Oh gosh. Top tip. Oh gosh. Leslie, do you want to go first?
Okay. I still would stick with the 15 minutes. I think when I'm really struggling, the ability to just set the timer on my phone and say, right, I'm going to go into that very difficult area. I'm going to focus on one particular part of it, and I'm going to do 15 minutes. And I find that really does help move me forward. Whereas in other times I would, open the door of the room, look in and think, oh no, can't face that, and walk straight back out again and go and do something else, that I would really want to do rather than something that I really do need to tackle. So yeah, the 15 minutes really does help me. I'm really intrigued about the folding of the fitted sheet. I don't remember them doing that when I was at the course. That's something I would really like to know how to do.
I could do a demonstration on next week's.
Oh, good.
Right, there we go.
Another bedding tip is have your bedding sets, fold them and then store them in the pillowcase of the bedding set if you've got matching sets, and then you can always find a set rather than bits being here and there in your cupboards.
Oh, that's a great idea. I like that idea. Yes. Yes. No, that's great. Yeah.
Right.
So bedding, I find, even with the help of my husband, we still struggle to try and get it into something, and then, what to do with it, Yeah. So that sounds really good. I like that idea.
That's next week's topic then. Sorted. You're on stage next week, Clara. Fiona.
Yeah, well, just to comment on the bedding, in fact, the bedding was something one of the participants had brought along. So I suppose that what, Clara and Elaine and Zem are having to do is kind of adapt what they tell, what they'd speak about, depending on what we bring to them. So, yeah. But I thought that was a great one. Yeah. And I'd forgotten that one about the pillowcase. So that's a good idea. Yeah, particularly when I'm washing lots of bedding just now and the weather's great. So it's good to do. Yeah, I think that one for me is not, it's part of the emotional judgmental thing, is not giving myself a really hard time. If it is about being compassionate with myself and saying, you know what, I've been battling with this for years. I'm just going to do my best. I'm just going to give it my best shot. And if it doesn't work, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I mean, I have made massive inroads. There's still quite a lot to do. I've inherited stuff as well. And it's just amazing how much, I think I had a lot of disposable income. I don't have children. I was working, I was able to buy that. I know that feeling that Clara talks about. So I just try not to beat myself up. And particularly just now with the good weather, is just go out and do a bit of relaxation. Don't worry about it obsessively. I go through stages where I worry about it all the time. And then I have to say, oh, Fiona, you can't live your life. You can't let it control you. Just go out and relax, go out and enjoy can't always enjoy myself right now, but just walk out, be out in nature. So there's that balance for me in life, that, emotional balance about not letting it take over and not becoming obsessive about it. So that's my tip for folk that might be struggling with it emotionally.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, I think that's the main one for me, I think, really. Yeah. And small and regularity. Yeah. I think regularity. We have phrases. One of our tips that we have is, oh gosh, if I can remember these mottos. We have mottos like relax into the regular rhythms of regular routines. So I think some of those phrases that we've developed in the group are really good ones to remind ourselves about. And one of the women is a fantastic calligrapher, I think, and she does these beautiful cards that you can place around the room. She does these beauty cards, so brings them to the group, and we can place them in different corners of the room. Like, what can you do in the 15 minutes while something's in the oven, or while the kettle, in the 3 minutes while the kettle's boiling? Just do something in the kitchen. And these are great things that I've certainly picked up on. So yeah, little rhythms, that ideas, little phrases that you might think, yeah, little incantations or affirmations that you might find helpful.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to Fiona and to Leslie, and we're having a nice little chat going on in the YouTube window about whether folding should really be a priority or not. But actually, there are more things that should take priority.
Absolutely.
there's an interesting chat, but then often, you know, I think for me I find it quite meditative or quite relaxing. So when I do it, so maybe we can open that chat up next week as well. So I would just like to say, oh, also, actually, lots of things to say. We had another text asking about joining Clutter Chat on Zoom, a similar question. So if people do, then you can email through, I've just scrolled it on a bit of paper, but clutterchat@gmail.com, clutterchat@gmail.com, and one of us will pick it up and we'll get back to you. And we've got a board meeting coming up, so I'll put it to them about opening it up to more people. But I think it's definitely a possibility, not next week, but soon, because I think we're all realizing that it's opening up a lot of doors and opportunities for people. So I think Fiona and Leslie would agree.
Yes,
Yes, indeed.
yes, indeed.
So now you've kind of seen a few friendly faces. If you do join us online, again, just email me and us at clutterchat@gmail.com. And I've put it's in the side on the YouTube window as well as the addresses. But thank you very much, Fiona and Leslie. I am going to let you escape now into the waiting room.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Clara, Elaine, that was a good chat, wasn't it?
It was a good chat, yes, and so many wonderful aspects that were talked about, and many different reasons why people find Clutter Chat so helpful and grounding and inspiring to dip in and out of or take regular part in. And good.
It's also sorry, Clara. It's also interesting how people like different types of groups or different types of working and all that. So as if we can, make as many different ways of people connecting together, then that's a great thing. And for some people, the Clutter Chat is absolutely essential. For other people, maybe that's not what they want. They maybe want more of a learning environment, which might be our course, or they maybe just want to come along to a nice informative workshop where we're just doing a presentation or things like that. So there's many different ways that people can pick up and learn bits and pieces and get a little bit of support. So it's really great. It's just showing that there are many different ways that we can all connect. So.
And there's all different reasons that people might have collecting habits, or sometimes people contact me because they want to set up a home office or a home studio. They're artists or musicians and they feel like the other parts of their home are fine for them, but they want a creative space or a workspace. So there's all different areas that people want to look at a particular time in their life. It really very much depends on what's going on in your life at that time.
Again, decluttering is a journey. It's not a destination. So exactly what Clara and Zem have said, and the ladies as well, that they may have started thinking it was one aspect of their life, but it's moved through as they move through the sort of journey. There may be other aspects of life, or they touch on different things which are impacting on them. So it's never going to happen overnight. It's just that lovely feeling of just taking yourself through it at the pace that's good for you. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I have a question to both of you. Do you think one is ever truly decluttered?
No, absolutely not. Life is fluid. Things change. You have new friendships, new interests, maybe a new partner. You have your family life might change. Life is constantly changing. Your interests are changing, you're changing. So no, I think it's a continual journey, but one that when you have a grounding of feeling connected in your own home and in your own life and feel like you've arrived at the right amount of clutter for you, that's a lovely space to continue from, then it's manageable and enjoyable to continue from that point with clutter.
I would agree, Clara. The great thing about the three of us is we are all at different stages of our life. So I have two grown-up sons. So I've gone through all the clutter that comes with children growing up, and you know, their friends coming into the house and all that. They have now left the home, so I have a clearer home now. Whereas Clara's got young children, you know, and all the things that come with her, and Zem is in a different stage of life as well. So it's very interesting the way we all talk about things. Clara's moving around the room.
Can you see that? I find that my storage is constantly changing, used for Lego and Barbie homes, and things have moved around. I don't know what I'm going to find, what wee magical paradise I'm going to find in a cupboard with my kids.
And with me, the rooms that the boys lived in have taken a new lease of life. They are different now. So one I'm using for doing all my exercise and yoga, and the other one I'm using as a wee sort of storeroom. So things change in our homes, our lives change, our hobbies change, our lifestyles change. As we get older, we have priorities over different things. So it's a really interesting thing to declutter, but it's never over.
Mm-hmm.
I think we just get better at dealing with it. So I've been really impressed with actually the Clutter Chat group, and some, like, their resilience is just fantastic. And the ability to like some people have been in really, really tricky situations with partners in nursing homes that they can't visit. We've got one person who literally moved house, and then half of stuff, more than half, is in storage that she can't deal with. People, you know, who's had a message as well from someone someone's died in the family, but they can't clear the house because there's no charity shops or anything. How do we do it? And it's the ability to, these things, I always say, you know, life is always going to throw stuff at us, and we can't stop that, but it's our ability to respond. And we have a word which people will have known before, but rather than being responsible, being response-able. So are we able to respond? And very much my work is trying to help build up people so they're able to respond, because I can't control what gets thrown into their lives, you know, but I can help people and give them, I suppose, I can help people to have that resilience and to be able to respond to whatever happens. So yeah, I just love it. I love kind of watching, you know, what's happening in the WhatsApp group and what comes out of the group when people are able to, you know, respond so kindly and so ably, which they wouldn't have been able to do before. So yeah,
I think resilience is a wonderful word, Zem, and I think that's what we all need. And when we have a sense of resilience, we find it easier to stay on an even keel and move forward in our life in a way where we feel connected and have a sense of control and ownership about what's happening. So if unexpected bills or mail comes into our home, or an unexpected event happens, maybe we get this coronavirus, which I know I had and my son had at the beginning of the lockdown, but because there was a sense of resilience and structure in my home, I knew that I had enough to feed us for the 2 weeks of isolation, although a friend very kindly handed fresh fruit and vegetable to the door. When you have that sense of resilience, it really gives you a sense of calm. And that's, I know what Elaine and yourself and I love working with people and seeing the sense of peace and freedom that a growing sense of resilience gives people.
Yeah, sometimes people are very down on themselves and think that they can't lift themselves to another place, you know. But actually, sometimes just someone like us coming in saying, you can do it, we'll do it at your pace, we will build on how to make it easier for you. I know I'm working with someone just now who is struggling a bit with this lockdown. But she says that each time we talk, she gets a bit stronger, a little bit stronger. And that's okay. And it's okay to have down days, and it's okay to feel, you know, elated other days. But it's about you believing that you can do it, and that it may take some time, but it's about the resilience of, yes, I can get through this, or I can tackle this project, or whatever it is that you're doing. It's a self-belief thing as well, you know. And sometimes some of the people that we've met through decluttering have gathered clutter to make up for things that are lacking in their lives. And sometimes when I coach, I take people right back to a point where they feel that that's when they kind of so-called lost control of whatever it was. And then we look at building on gaining that control back. So it's about everybody at their own pace, everybody at their own speed, everybody at their own time, but just believing in the fact that you can do it. And if you need a little bit of help, then that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's the way the world is opening up for us now online. I know Clara's just sort of starting this sort of online support as well, and Elaine's been doing it for a while, and I've been doing it. So if people want to have support online, then you've seen our faces now. We're more than happy to kind of book you in for a half hour, 40-minute, hour kind of motivational appointment. You can also get in touch with this Clutter Chat at gmail.com if you're interested in joining the Clutter Chat group. As I said, it's still all a process in sort of development, but we're very keen to expand it to other people. So working at the speed of trust, as we say, we will all get there. And I think at the beginning of today's show, we looked at kind of Tai Chi and yoga. So very much, you know, yeah, stuff is one thing, looking after your home is one thing. And for me, having less stuff, it's less stuff to look after. So it's less of a weight on my mind, and it's easier to take care of. So, and it doesn't annoy me so much. That's great. But also looking after our bodies and breathing and mindfulness. And so I don't know what you ladies think, but next week we'll have Clara give some demonstrations of some folding, how to actually sort of practically look after your home, and maybe another guest, maybe from your world, Clara, might come in. And I think in the future, maybe have a bit more on like mindfulness, and don't know, those are my thoughts, but Clara, Elaine?
Yeah, folding can be mindful as well. And a lot of people are skeptical, can't say that, about folding initially, but I've lost count of the amount of times that people have wanted to show me photos of their wardrobes or their drawers, and literally their drawers, their knicker drawers and their pant drawers, and I get emails with this is my pant drawer and this is my husband or my partner's pant drawer, because they saw me doing it and they love it now. So if it's for you, it can be a lovely organizational way to find your clothes easily and maximize your space, and you don't need to iron as much. I don't really iron anyway, so full disclosure. Elaine.
And the process of folding, I know a lot of people say that, yeah, like you said, they are a bit skeptical sometimes, but the actual action of taking something and carefully putting it is like a bit like Tai Chi, or it is a bit like mindfulness, in, you know, in the fact that you're slowing everything down and you're really taking your time and you're focused. And going back to what the ladies said there, you know, with the 15-minute declutter, or you know, even just concentrating on one area of the house, it's about the focus. And sometimes people can only focus 5 minutes, and that's okay, because I do the 5-minute habit declutter, which is adding it onto a habit that you've already got, and that might be enough for people. Or there's a 15-minute, like them saying in the Clutter Chat, and that's a really good one that works for the group that are there. Some people maybe half an hour, but it's about focus, and focus comes into mindfulness, it comes into Tai Chi, it comes into yoga, everything like that comes into breathing. So it's all connected, although we don't think it is, it actually is. And sometimes we just need to take a step back and think about it. and think, yeah, you know, while I'm folding here, actually I can breathe slower, and actually I'm focused, so I'm not thinking about all this stuff that's going on around me. So it can be very relaxing.
And sometimes it is good as well to just take a step back. Sometimes it's good to just give yourself a break. I know myself last week when I had a sick puppy and I wasn't feeling well, I just stripped everything back to essentials. But because I had habits in place, then I could go back to those habits. I didn't get to do my yoga or my exercise last week beyond going out to hang out laundry and for a short walk. But this week I went back to my habits. Habits take about 28 days to, so be patient with yourself, give yourself time to settle into a habit, and if it works, stick with it, and if it doesn't work, let it go. But just try 1 or 2 new things at a time. Don't overload yourself, but yeah, also give yourself space.
And that's a lovely way to wrap up. And 2 things that I'm very strict on in Clutter Chat is timekeeping in the session, and also at the end we have a minute silence where we invite people just to sit in their own space and with their thoughts before we leave. So I'd like to just sort of ask, we'll all say goodbye, but if people, having watched this, if you just want to sit just for a minute and just sort of have a bit of reflection, a bit of time to yourself. But I think speaking for Clara and Elaine, we've had a lovely time. We really enjoy our time to meet up and to share our chat with you guys every week. So we look forward to seeing you again, or you seeing us next week. Please do subscribe as normal to the YouTube channel, and I'm going to try and work out how people can watch it live a bit easier. I'm not, there's a little gremlin somewhere in the system, but I think it's worked fine. So just we'll wave goodbye, and if people just want to take a moment just to for yourself. It's been a great joy. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.